continue to talk with the table now about sports and the cultural, the impact of sports on our region. I'll do introductions first. Joining us from the St. Louis Blues, the chairman, Tom Stillman. Thanks for being here, Tom. And welcome back to the show, the editor of CountOnDowntown.com, Frank DeGraff. Thank you, Frank, for being here. And also welcome back to Missy Kelly, Senior VP at the Partnership for Downtown St. Louis. Thanks. And Marty Brooks, Senior VP and General Manager of the Americas Center Complex. That includes the Convention and Visitors, with the Convention and Visitors Commission. So that's another way of saying Edward Jones Dome, which is another way of saying sorry to talk about it like you weren't here earlier. And I also know that when you have a lot of attorneys involved in situations like this, there may not be a whole lot you can say publicly, but it would be a disservice for me not to ask you about your reaction to the news of a purchase of an area in Los Angeles where the St. Louis Rams could potentially move.
Well, it's certainly interesting news and very interesting that it happened just prior to the show going on air. As far as being able to comment, that's really a question for the Regional Sports Authority and the Governor's Office. Those are the ones involved in the discussions with Mr. Kroenke and what happens with the Rams in the future. They're playing in 2014 at the Edward Jones Dome. We've submitted dates to Kevin Demoff, Executive Vice President of the Rams, last week. They're submitting those dates to the NFL. So I know we've got a season ahead of us for 2014, and that's what I'm going to focus on.
It's only one season looking ahead, though. I don't know. That's should we read between the lines there at all?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean,
okay.
The standard practice is we provide dates to the team in January of each year, so that then the league can put together their schedule. So the timing is very consistent with years past. And as far as what happens to the future, look, the Rams have a lease through 2024. The arbitration came out as it did last year. It gave the Rams the rights to go year to year after the 2014 season. Kevin Demoff, I know, loves St. Louis. I heard him on a radio show over the weekend, and he said, look, the fact that the Rams are going year to year is not a news item in the National Football League. The San Diego Chargers specifically have been year to year with their lease for 10 years. So the timing of today's announcement is certainly interesting. I'm a Rams fan as well as work closely with the Rams, but it's way too early to speculate what this means.
And speaking of Mr. Demoff, I should say, too, that we offered them a spot on tonight's show, and they were very gracious and accessible. However, it is the Super Bowl weekend, and their entire staff is in New York for the Super Bowl.
How convenient.
Bad planning on my part. Let me turn it back to the three of you and say, should we care? Is this conversation a big deal for our city?
I believe it's a big deal for our city. We're the 18th largest market in the country, and we don't have to have every professional sports league or team represented here, but I do think it's a big deal for us to lose one that we have. This does not mean that we're losing one. This is very early news. And I think more than that potential economic impact is really more of the impact on kind of the brand of St. Louis. I think that there may be the perception out there that St. Louis isn't what it once was. There are big businesses that have moved away, et cetera. And for people that look at St. Louis through that lens, could look at something like this as, St. Louis, there's another black eye for St. Louis. So I think more than anything, it's definitely it could be a PR issue for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think from an economic standpoint, it's not the end of the world, because the money that's already in the region will just be distributed elsewhere. Maybe it goes to the St. Louis Blues and the Cardinals. It will certainly, at least for a little bit. And I think it's more an emotional thing. Sports is not a normal business. So emotionally, nobody wants to lose their team. We've already lost a football team before, so it's PR-wise. It'll be a black eye. But I think if you look at we're talking about first-tier cities. Look at Austin. Look at the Raleigh-Durham area. Look at San Jose. They don't have football teams, and they are the fastest-growing cities in the nation. They grew 40% in the last 10 years, and they're doing very, very well. So, it's not the end of the world.
Mr. Stillman, I'll open it up to you, but anybody can jump in here. What do you see the role of a sports team in the city to be?
I think it has a few roles, and one of them is the one that Missy talked about. I think she's right on target. Part of the brand of St. Louis, or any city that aspires to be a top-tier city, and another way to say that is a major league city, because it is tied into major league teams. And particularly when you already have one, an NFL team, and if you lose it, it's a big black eye. It is, and you can argue back and forth about the specific economics of that team and whether it's moving money around the area or what it is, but it is part of being a top-tier major league city, and that isn't just about something ethereal. That's about keeping bright people here. So when they go to college, they want to come back. It's attracting people from other areas. It's, the companies here being able to bring in the best and the brightest so that they can grow their businesses, make our economy vibrant, and make our city successful. And if you start losing, young people, when they look at a city, they want something to do. They want it to be, a vibrant city, a major league city. And these losing teams, it hurts that a lot. I think it would be a loss.
So is it important enough that a sports team should receive public money in one form or another?
I think that's a difficult issue, but I think a municipality and a state have to look at it in an objective way and see what does it bring to the city. I don't think, or to the state. It certainly can't be all public money, by any means, but some public money may be justified because of all the positive effects. A lot of them tangible, some of them intangible in this attracting talent and being a major league city.
I would just say on the flip side of this, the St. Louis Cardinals, it's a very different deal than the St. Louis Rams. The Cardinals are really woven into the fabric of the community in St. Louis and our history, and they, most of the funding that came for their new stadium was private funding. It was not public funding. And I also think that having a franchise like the St. Louis Cardinals is one where people from all over, 40% of the fans that come, of the 3 million fans that come every year, come from out of the side of the state of Missouri. So
now, is that just the Metro East, or do we fudge those numbers a little bit?
I got this from the Cardinals today. It's 40%. It's about 1 million people come every year from outside of the state of Missouri. 90% of the people that come down are outside of the city. So the impact, both economic and then also, again, to the perception and the brand of St. Louis, it's really kind of advertising for who we are. They're coming down here for a very positive event. They're seeing lots of people. They're going into restaurants that they can't go into in the suburbs. They're eating in these buildings that are architecturally magnificent that you can put up against buildings across the country. And when to your question about why do sports teams matter, things like that bring people that wouldn't necessarily come. And then it makes them think, well, I may come back on another day when there's not a game because I didn't get to try that place over there. So I think it's really important. And while the Rams are very important, all of the teams that we have are, I think that we, if this happens, we will weather it like we have, many other storms in St. Louis.
Casey, one of the things that I think we should all take pride in was, if you remember back in the fall, we had a Monday night football game, the first time the Rams had been on Monday Night Football Live, ESPN, in a long time. And at the same time, we had across town the Cardinals playing in a World Series game. It's the first time in history that a market city has hosted both events simultaneously on the same night. And what that does is it showcases not only within St. Louis and the region, and not just with the United States, but internationally, the ability of St. Louis to support major events. And not only did we do a World Series game, we did a Monday Night Football game live simultaneously. So the infrastructure is in place to support major events, and having something like the Rams and the Cardinals and the Blues together playing just demonstrates and attracts other events to the region.
Do you see, real quickly, we have to wrap up the segment, do you see the Blues having a connection to the arts in our city?
To the arts,
to the other cultural amenities, and do sports and other amenities overlap in your mind?
I think they overlap and complement each other. I don't think they compete or detract from one another at all. And in fact, I would point to our complex at Scottrade Center. In the Scottrade Center, the Blues play hockey. We have NCAA basketball, all sorts of other sports events. We have concerts, the leading, names and acts from around the world. And then right next door, and we're connected by tunnels. It's really the same structure as the Peabody Opera House. And we have everything from small concerts to comedy to dance to Broadway there. So, in just one little block, you could see how sports and art do complement each other.
Thank you all.